raise your hand if you really don't like feeling uncertain. How many of you would even say you hate feeling uncertain? Understandable. We have access to more information than any generation before us, but we still can't predict whether we'll keep our jobs, whether the medical treatment we're undertaking will work, or how international affairs will unfold. And this experience of not knowing can be disorienting and distressing. We are not even the only creatures that hate uncertainty. In research with something like pigeon slot machines, stay with me here. Hungry pigeons have a choice between two keys. One key gives them a 50% chance of getting a food pellet, but they receive no immediate information about whether they will receive a food pellet. They have to wait 10 seconds, and then they get their pellet. The other key gives them an immediate signal about whether the food is coming. So they press that key, and they may see the color green and be trained that green means I'm getting a food pellet, or see the color red and be trained that red means they're not getting the food pellet. Then they wait the 10 seconds and receive their food pellet. Or not. Which do you think the pigeons choose? By the end of their training, the pigeons were choosing the one where they sacrificed their reward to avoid uncertainty almost every time. So, hating uncertainty may not be uniquely human, but the bad news is that hating uncertainty is bad for us. Just like those pigeons, we may settle for suboptimal solutions in an attempt to avoid uncertainty. I'm going to list a couple concepts, and I want you to I want you to think to yourself how familiar you are with them. How familiar are you with the Great British Famine? Very familiar? A little familiar? Not at all familiar? What about the Pareto deficiency? If you're unfamiliar with either of these concepts, there's a reason for that. They're actually totally made up. Fun fact, people will sometimes claim knowledge about things they know nothing about. I'm sure no one here has ever done this or seen it done. People who are more uncomfortable with things they don't know are more likely to say they are familiar with those and other made-up concepts. They're also more likely to rate fake news headlines as true. If we're uncomfortable with uncertainty, we may settle for bad information. Hating uncertainty may even be bad for our mental health. A meta-analysis containing data from over 50,000 people found that the more people hated uncertainty, the more likely they were to experience anxiety disorders and depression. So it would be good for our information, our decision-making, and our mental health to find some things to like about uncertainty. So I am here to convince you to unhate uncertainty. Big picture, uncertainty is a big flashing light telling us there's something we don't know or can't predict. And you can imagine how this could be beneficial in a variety of circumstances. Our attention is called to our boss's unpredictable moods or our child's strange rash, and that additional attention can help us begin to figure out what's going on. Because the future is actually uncertain, not experiencing uncertainty would put us at a huge disadvantage. People who are more certain they won't experience car crashes or colon cancer are less likely to wear seatbelts or get relevant screenings. Our uncertainty about the possibility of a negative outcome can sometimes help us do things to prevent that outcome. But uncertainty is more than just a necessary evil. Uncertainty is necessary for hope, suspense, and possibility. Here in Fansville, I'm sure you all know at least one person who insists on watching the big game live. Live events are maximally uncertain in that no one knows how they're going to turn out. And research supports the idea that people find these kind of events more exciting than events that are less uncertain, like the same game recorded. Uncertainty can even enhance an already positive experience. I want you to imagine you're in a study and you exchange get-to-know-you surveys with 3 other participants. And you receive 3 nice notes about how all of them really like you. But you don't know who wrote which note. You now have a choice. You can find out who wrote which note or not. Raise your hand if you would want to know who wrote which nice note. Raise your hand if you would prefer not to know. I've sold some of you on uncertainty already, perhaps. They really did this, and everyone asked to know. They took a separate group of participants, split them in half, told half of them who wrote which note, and didn't tell the other half. The ones who weren't told were happier 15 minutes later than the ones who were told who wrote which note. That big flashing light of attention can enhance and hold our attention on an already positive experience. Now, even as an advocate for uncertainty, I am aware that uncertainty can be truly terrible. We would all prefer to live in a world where we were certain that people were safe, that they were healthy, and they had the resources they needed to live. However, improving conditions for people across the globe will involve leaning into uncertainty. We will need to test new potential solutions without knowing exactly how they're going to play out. We will also need the courage to maintain awareness of the things we don't know so we can prepare for multiple possible outcomes. So when you leave today, I'd like you to do 2 things. 1, don't assume there is anything wrong with you because you are experiencing uncertainty. Uncertainty is the reality. Your awareness of the things you don't know is your superpower. 2, develop your comfort with uncertainty by leaning in to some safe experiences of uncertainty. Enter a new space, try a new technology, introduce yourself to a stranger, maybe tonight. Teach yourself that you can handle not knowing exactly what comes next. As we look out over the question marks that line our futures, I'll leave you with this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. People wish to be settled. Only as far as they are unsettled is there any hope for them. Thank you.